All righty, folks. Welcome back to Division Therapy. I'm Liam.
I'm Brett, and we are back with another episode. We are through the first week of June,
Yeah, I know.
and
Less than 100 games to go now in the season.
97 for the Mets. 97 games to go. So,
Yeah, I can't believe we're already in now two digits now left in the season. And
crazy.
I gotta say, we gotta talk about it right off the bat. A historical weekend for the NL East. And I
Tell
texted
me,
you
tell
about
me.
this. I was nerding out about this. I was so excited because
At like
I,
7:30 in the morning as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I had been obviously following. I obviously checked the scores, and I just noticed that obviously all of the teams in the NL East were definitely winning some games. And so I was like, "Hey, did everybody win their series?" And so I went in and I checked, and we did. And then, as I do when I nerd out, I went through the schedules. I like had like the tabs of all of the teams' schedules, and I went like series by series, and it was pretty easy because obviously if I went and I saw that one had lost a series, it
Right,
was easy
right.
to kind of keep going. But I noticed that this is the only time. And so I was like, wait a second. Like, I feel like this is kind of unique because obviously within division, I'm like, when we play one another, obviously it's
Mm-hmm.
impossible. That's
Mm-hmm.
not going to happen. And I got even more excited when I found out that all teams winning a series in like a given like series weekend or week or whatever has only ever happened five other times
Wow.
in history, because obviously that means that up to 15 other teams, based on just how have to lose their games,
Mm-hmm.
right? And mathematically it's crazy. So the NL East had a historical weekend, all teams winning their series. So
It's
definitely
insane.
an exciting thing to talk about as far as the an NL East podcast is concerned. So
Yeah.
everyone was playing on all cylinders this week, all across the NL East. So definitely very excited. A lot of positive to talk about for all of the
Yeah.
teams in
Yeah.
this
Usually,
podcast today. So that's pretty cool.
you'd think like the Mets would ruin that, this year. You'd think like,
Yeah,
oh,
either the Mets or the
the
Marlins.
Marlins maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, the Marlins. So definitely super cool. So definitely
Yeah.
got to talk about that. I'm wearing the hat today. I got to shout out my Georgia Bulldogs as well. Go Dogs! They made the College World Series for the first time
Oh,
since
wow.
2008.
Who are they
It
going
has been
against?
that isn't decided yet.
Oh,
Not all
okay.
the teams. So I think the last couple games are finishing up today, but and then the bracket and stuff is not figured out till the
Hmm.
next couple days. But also big news for the Georgia Bulldogs. So Georgia baseball in general, both professionally and collegiate, doing pretty well this weekend as well. So that's another exciting thing. But enough about that. Enough about kind of interesting things in that sense. Let's get talking about your Mets.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I said in the last episode and the episode before that I was nervous about this West Coast road trip,
Hmm.
and I was correct with Seattle, but I was wrong about the Padres series. They ended up taking two out of the three games. Honestly, they should have swept. They should have swept. They came
Hmm.
so close. They could have easily have swept the series, but we will take a series win. It puts them
Absolutely.
5 games out of the wild card. So I mean, there's a lot of teams ahead of the Mets, but it's tightly packed. So we'll see. The next couple of weeks are going to be very, very telling. There was a report that Freddie Peralta was looking for a deal similar to Max Fried's contract, which is just like insane, if you
Yeah,
ask me.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's crazy.
but yeah, let's jump in. Game one, Mets
Hmm.
5, Padres nothing.
There you go.
And
That's the way
I
you win a game. Don't let
yeah,
them score. There you
and I
go.
was talking to all my friends, and I was talking to all my Mets friends, and I was like, man, that was such a boring game, and I absolutely loved it. I
Boring games are a
I
blessing,
loved
man.
it.
Boring games
Oh
are
my
nice, man,
god.
especially when you're the team that is,
Yes,
yeah,
they were
winning in that
firing on
sense.
all cylinders. The starting pitching, the offense, the bullpen. Shout out Christian Scott with his
Hmm.
best start of his career, I'll say. He almost went 6 innings. He went 5 2/3. He got pulled with a man on first and third. I probably would have left him in, but that's like an emotional. I'm an
But
emotional
how many
fan.
outs were there?
There were two outs. There were two
Oh, there
outs.
were two outs.
Yeah,
Okay,
but he got
okay,
pulled for Brasbon,
yeah,
who's
yeah, okay.
Brasbon's been nails, and so you can't really argue that. But I'm an emotional fan. I like a feel good story. Christian Scott, I was like, he went 17 starts without a win. He finally gets it. Like, it would have been cool to get a quality start. All those
Mhm.
things. But regardless, he was he was dominant. He was really, really good, and he has a franchise record for the Mets, which is
Oh,
allowing
okay.
4 or fewer runs in 17 consecutive starts. So I know I've kind of been lukewarm on Christian Scott, as I think a lot of Mets fans have been. He has the talent, is the thing. He reminds me kind of, similarly to the way that you have talked about probably like a Bryce Elder.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
it's like this guy has the talent, he has the stuff, and he could just never put it together. And obviously, Christian Scott has gone through a lot of injuries, and so he's lost some playing time. But so far this year, specifically the last few starts, he has looked just like one of the best pitchers in the Mets system. Better than Tong, better than Sproat ever did. Obviously,
Yeah.
not better than McLean. McLean's awesome, but
Mhm.
he's looked really good. And another player who's been just unreal, Jared Young.
Yeah, absolutely.
He smoked this ball for a home run. And if Jared Young is playing well, that makes Mark Vientos totally obsolete, which I love. It's crazy. Little aside here. I'm new into baseball cards, so if you have
Yeah,
any
yeah, you've been showing me
if you have any like
some of your
tips and
gets
tricks
recently.
for
Yeah.
collecting to any listeners out there, but they have a signed and autographed Mark Vientos card going for $400. I'm like,
Jeez,
in
man. I'm
what
like,
world? In what world is that guy worth $400? But anywho, that's besides the point. Jared Young is the main focus right now because
mhm.
he plays a better defensive first baseman. He arguably has, the same, if not more power. He hits for more contact. He is 30 years old, so, the ceiling, who knows, if the ceiling is high or, the ceiling's probably higher with Vientos. I'll give you that. But he just has so much power, Jared Young, and his swing is so sweet. It reminds me of like a Michael Conforto-esque swing. It's that pretty.
Yeah.
And this year he's hitting 291 with an 884 OPS. He's just flat out been one of the best hitters for the Mets. Like it goes,
Yeah.
Juan Soto, Jared Young.
And how was he acquired by the Mets? How did he make? Because
I
I
think
see here on
originally
the reference that he
he
was originally with the Cubs, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's where he made his debut in
I
the majors with the Cubs.
I want to say that he was signed. Yeah, he
Signed.
signed
Okay,
as a free
okay,
agent
okay,
in 2024. So
okay.
he was injured this year as well. So, small sample size for Jared Young. And you have to, consider that. But he has looked great. And the bullpen just dominated. They didn't give up a single hit for the rest of the game. So just such a nice, clean win for the Mets, which is not something that I've been accustomed to this year.
Yeah.
Game two, Nolan McLean. I said it on the podcast that this is the one that they were going to win. But I said Griffin Canning was going to pitch well, and I was right about Griffin Canning pitching well, but I was wrong about the Mets winning. The Mets lose 3-2. They waste McLean's 6 innings. He allowed one
Man,
run. He
that
looked,
sucks.
it was a gutsy performance. He obviously didn't have his best stuff, I'd say,
Mhm.
but he was able to gut through 6 innings, kind of save the bullpen a little bit there. And the Mets were ahead in this game. The Mets were ahead with Marcus Semien hitting a home run, and you feel good about it into the seventh. And then for some reason, Austin Warren was in the game in the seventh, and he gives up a
Well,
home
who are
run.
you accustomed to seeing? Who would you have rather seen there in the seventh?
I would have rather seen. I would go Rayleigh, Weaver, Devin Williams.
And at either of them pitched the day before?
I think
Were they on
Weaver.
regular rest
I think
there?
Weaver pitched the day before, but he can go 2 days in a row.
Okay.
That's not a problem for him. But he gives up a home run to Freddie Fermin, who it was his first home run of the season.
Damn, man.
I'm like, come on,
Was it a
man.
wall scraper or was it a bomb?
Oh, he got rocked. Like he just like it was just bad. And the Mets tried to come back. They had an eighth inning double, but there was a big double play. Soto smoked the ball, ended up in a double play, and then you go against Mason Miller, and you,
Yeah,
you
that's just
really
like
the game might be over. It
Ye-
might as well be over in eight because you're
yeah,
not
yeah,
going to get anything off of
man.
Mason Miller. Although the Mets did score
Best
in one.
closer in baseball.
Oh,
That
easily,
that that
easily.
walkout is just incredible,
Yeah,
dude.
I'm curious.
Chills, man.
Like
I've
low key might be like a winning trade for the Padres. The guy that they traded is ranked third best prospect in baseball, I want to say. So,
Mhm.
like, it's not like they got him for nothing. They gave up a crap ton of talent in,
Absolutely.
what is it, Leo DeVry. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, Juan Soto, like I was saying, like I said it last episode, Juan Soto just has not been clutch. And he obviously smoked the ball. Like it was a really unlucky double play. But man, lift the ball, like get it into
Yeah.
the outfield. Like I can't keep making excuses for him to not come up in these situations. He has to. He's getting paid to. He must. And so that was just really frustrating, a really frustrating end to the game. And then game three, the Carson Benge game, as it will
Carson
be
Benge,
known.
man. 5 for
5 for 5
5.
with a
Damn,
home
man.
run. He was a double short of the cycle. Just an absolutely unbelievable game from Carson Benge. And since moving to the leadoff spot, 316 average, 388 on base, 5 home runs, 20 RBIs. He has been such a good player for the Mets in that leadoff spot, setting the table for Bichette and Soto. He is everything you want in a leadoff guy, and he plays amazing defense. And the energy that he brings, he's best friends with Soto. Like, this is the guy that the Mets have been waiting for. I feel like I've been waiting since, probably 5+ years for a great homegrown Mets talent on the position player side. Like, obviously they've had their pitching lab. They've had Harvey, they've had Syndergaard, they've had DeGrom. But an offensive player, it's like we thought we were getting that in Beatty. Not true. We thought we were getting that in Vientos. Obviously not true. We thought we were getting that in Alvarez. Not true. Like these baby Mets that we were talking about a couple years ago. And Benge, man, he has just been everything that the Mets needed right now. And not for nothing, Marcus Semien, big home run. That's 2 home runs in the series. And everyone's real quiet about the Semien for Nimmo trade. I was seeing on Twitter at the beginning of the year, Nimmo had, amazing numbers. And he did, and Semien was struggling mightily. But if you look at it now, it's pretty even. And you get off
Yeah,
the
I'm like, I don't know about
contract
that, Brett. I'm
earlier.
like,
It is. It
I'm
is.
like that OBP slug, OPS, and OPS plus are miles ahead. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but you have
You
to consider that
you put this
he was
right
playing.
here. What are you
No, I know,
talking
but
about?
you have to consider that he's been playing in Texas where it's warm. Simeon's been playing in New York where it was cold for 2 months, where it's just now starting to heat
I
up.
know,
So
but it
like,
might as well be 200 degrees. Have you watched a couple games at Globe Life Field?
come
That place
on.
is a freaking like one of the largest stadiums.
I
Yes,
know,
obviously,
and
yes.
Simeon's
I
defense
know,
has
but
been
I'm like
incredible.
I will say
It's a lot closer
overarchingly,
than people. It's a lot
I
closer
think I
than
might
people.
disagree with you there, but
Whatever. It's a lot closer than people think it is what I'm trying to say. And the Mets save some money and they get better defensively, and everyone's just real quiet about it. I'm not seeing it on Twitter for some reason. It's
and
real
that's valid.
strange.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
listen, I obviously would like to see that OPS come up a little
of
bit.
course.
But yeah, absolutely, huge home run, definitely a good series win there for the Padres. But I will
For
say,
the Padres,
excuse me, for the Mets, I wanted to say for
who
the
are you rooting for?
Padres,
Who are you rooting for?
yeah, for the Padres, man, just slumping.
Brutal.
11 out of the last 15 that they've lost. You
Brutal.
know what I mean? Like out of a playoff spot. No, like at the beginning of the year, they were definitely looking a lot better. Obviously, they have more than enough time to turn it around. Obviously, no one's winning the division other than the Dodgers. I'm like,
I don't think
the
they're gonna
NL
turn it
West isn't a
around.
particular
the
competition,
The
but
Padres offense looked so stagnant
yeah,
this series. Like I just don't know how they get it off the ground. You lose Laureano for the year,
yeah,
and Tatis can't hit the ball, in the air, so he's not. And Machado looks dead. It looks like
yeah.
Father Time has caught up to him in a big way. So I don't know if the Padres are really going to get it off the ground. And not for nothing, but their starting pitching isn't great.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I don't know. The window might be closed in San Diego.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I'm like, I definitely think
Yeah,
there's a lot better teams that is going to make it very
yeah.
difficult for them to make it into the wild card. But yeah, great series win. I'm glad you did. I'm like, this was really important to bounce back from that series in Seattle. So I'm glad y'all got the win.
Thanks, buddy.
Um, moving on to the Braves here, who, man, gosh, they finally got a sweep. Thank God. Man,
You're obnoxious.
just really
You
tough
are
out here.
obnoxious.
Game one, it was another win. Tough to come by here in Braves country over here. Perez, it wasn't glamorous, but it never particularly is with Perez, but he always does it. 5 innings, 3-run ball, 4-run ball, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
He gets us through 5 innings, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because the offense just quite literally almost always delivers. I'm like, even what's crazy to me
Insane.
is
It's
compared to
insane.
2023, right? Where we did, pretty much have the best offensive season in Braves history, right? It's not the same offensive numbers, but we were losing series in 2023. We still had 100 wins, but we were still losing series. It was
Hmm.
still, you know, considerably normal compared to what we're seeing now. But the fact that one, we just pretty much almost, as Frank the Tank says, quite literally never lose. But it has
The
to do with
Braves
the
never
fact
lose. They
the
never
Braves
lose.
that they never lose. But I'm like, listen, a perfect series from Dubon. He hit 500, 4 for 8, 4 runs, a double, a huge home run on a hanging man. You just don't hang stuff to Dubon because he is almost always taking advantage of it. And then we have Riley, who looked terrible against the Jays. He is honestly the player on this team that has looked the worst this year.
Yeah.
And I continue to say on Twitter, I really want him to get it going because it's going to be really important for him in the postseason to kind of
Yeah.
deliver in that
Correct.
sense.
Correct me if I'm wrong. He's always been a second half player, though.
Yes, yes, yes.
Like
He
he
is
always
always
heats up.
Yeah, he's always started slow, and I will say in this Buck series, he was 3 for 7, two doubles, two RBIs, and a walk. So it's not been great, but he did, have a little bit more production here as opposed to the J series where he only had one hit. But who I want to talk about in the good news, and I've talked about it a lot, but the good news for the Braves is they have a three-headed dog of Lee, Suarez, and Iggy that just do it again. They just consist. It is over and over and over. It just does not matter. If you make it 7, 8, 9, realistically, you are not winning that baseball game. I'm like, you look at the consistency out of this bullpen, it just seems generational. Like Lee has a .63 whip. Suarez has a 97th percent fastball, and Iggy has converted 29 straight save opportunities. So
Pretty
it's just
good.
like realistically, all three of these guys in a lot of major league staffs could be closers.
Yeah.
And so it's like you quite literally almost have three straight closers. And at that point, I'm like, what are teams supposed to do? And it's awesome, man. It's so much fun to see these guys do it almost every single night. And when they don't, obviously other guys step up. So 6-3 win there. Then game two, another 6-3 win. Strider goes five, but listen, Dom Smith, man, another big moment for
BDSM.
Dom Smith. He came up with a chance to break it open. It was 4-3 against Ashcraft, who I was really kind of expecting, and he was pretty decent throughout the game. Obviously, he did end up getting a loss, but he was really challenging Braves with that high fastball, and we were honestly getting to it. And I don't know if he just missed his spot or he just sometimes pitchers are just cocky where it's
Hmm.
just like, this time I'm going to get him. And he threw that high fastball, and Dom Smith went inside out and just snuck it in the left field foul pole to make it 6-3 with a home run, man. And listen, if Shohei Ohtani didn't
Oh my
exist, I
god.
genuinely believe that he should be in all-star consideration right
No.
now among
No.
hitters with at least 100 at
No.
bats. He has a 309 batting average, which is seventh best in the NL. With two outs this season, he has a 372 average, which is good for the third best clip in the national. Third
Forget
best.
about Kyle Schwarber. Like,
I don't care about the Phillies. I don't care. What I'm saying here is
there's
this
no
production.
way.
I honestly think, for the most part, your takes, sometimes I'm wrong. This is the only take where I'm gonna genuinely feel like I think that he is going to keep this up for the whole
I hope
year.
he does. I hope he does. I'm a Dom Smith fan, but I just don't see it. But I hope he
I don't
does.
know, man. I'm watching it, and based on the stats that I just said, I'm like, he's with two outs. I'm like, that is the definition of
No, I know.
clutch.
Yeah.
So it has been great. And then game three, obviously, I'm being annoying. I'm saying that we're not getting the sweeps, but I will say that this is only the third sweep of the year for a team that has 45 wins, the most in the major leagues. This was the third sweep, and it has been the last game, which is where we have been getting these losses. It was only 2 hits through 6 and a couple of bad bounces, and it really kind of just seems like the guys were tired. It didn't really seem like, but rainy. It was super rainy, wet, gross.
Mm-hmm.
Harris, who'd had been dealing with some, back issues, even like he's fine. I think he just was a little bit sore,
He's
and
more than fine.
yeah, more than fine, man. Bases loaded,
Unbelievable. It's
pinch
unbelievable
hit,
every time.
clears the bases, man. It was
Every
so
time.
sick. I'm like, he has produced 5 RBIs and go ahead plate appearance opportunities off the bench in the 7th inning or later, which is tied for the most in the MLB this season.
Absurd.
So even when he has that opportunity, and listen, I will say it was not a great pitch. It was quite literally a sinker right down the middle.
Right.
But
Right.
for a lefty, and that arm angle, I don't remember who the lefty was that was pitching for the Pirates, but that arm angle was kind of a difficult arm angle where that sinker's coming out, and he just delivered, man. It was awesome. We took the 3-2 lead, but listen, we still had to get that win because Suarez, Lee, and Iggy had gone 2 straight days. So this was like, okay, this is the one opportunity where it's like, okay, this could be where we blow it. And
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Kinley, who has struggled with walks and having people on base, he got a ground out to end the 8th with the bases loaded. And then Didier Fuentes, man. Didier Fuentes, who obviously he struggled kind of in the beginning of the year, starter role. He's been in the reliever role now, and he's been great. Sometimes, usually 1 inning, sometimes 2 innings. And he came in for his first ever save opportunity. And being a young kid like that, I'm like 3-2. This is your probably one of the biggest moments of your career
Yeah,
so far.
adrenaline's got to be through the
Yeah, like
roof,
have
right?
the opportunity to win a baseball game for your team. And he comes in, a couple guys come on, but he has 2 strikeouts, ends the game on a slider inside, and wins the baseball game and gets the save. I'm like, that honestly probably one of my favorite moments of the year so far, because it is just kind of comes down to the fact what a great manager Weiss is.
Yeah.
It's just like it comes down to, you know, he could have saved Kinley or something. I would. I'm be honest. I would have a tough time putting Fuentes in that position,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that he had the confidence, like, go out there, kid. I believe in you, and he made it happen. That was really, really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of Fuentes that he made it happen. He got the sweep, and listen, man, I'm like, I was joking about it, but the as I said, the Phillies can continue to win, but it's just insane that they just genuinely have made absolutely no progress. And another sweep, even though they did win that series in Chicago, just pretty much no changes
Mm-hmm.
as far as, division lead is concerned. Okay, so let's take a look at the rest of the teams, and let's start off with the Marlins. They had the second half of the Citrus series against the Rays, and obviously we mentioned that they got the series win. Game one was the tough one of the series. They lost 6-0, nothing really to speak of. It was only 2 hits. Gusto, who previously was with Houston,
Ryan Gusto, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
got his first start. He wasn't super great. He only went 2 innings, gave up 3 runs. It wasn't super great. Nothing really to speak of there. But game two, Javier Sanoja, who had 1 hit, one of the only 2 hits in that game in game one, and then had 3 in game two, had a huge home run, 2 RBIs. That accounted for 2 of those 4 runs with that solo home run. And then Lake Bacar opened the game for the Marlins with 3 perfect innings, and then Tyler Zuber earned
Former
his
Met.
first, yeah, former Met, earned his first career save with the bases loaded. So he only faced one batter there, came in with a bases loaded and made it happen. That is, you got your one
Great
guy.
outing. Yeah, that's pretty
What's
good.
that? Was it major league
Major
when,
League,
yeah,
yeah.
major league when he comes
Yep.
in, you got your one guy, make it
Yep.
happen. And he did. And then game three, that win to get the series win. Sandy, man, back to back great games for the guy. Leads the MLB with innings pitched now. So truly has been that workhorse of the
Mm-hmm.
league. And apparently, all that success is due to Crumble Cookie. Christina Nicola, who's the beat reporter for the Marlins, apparently every single start he eats crumble cookie, and I'm not really sure how healthy, but
Oh,
those like cookie cutters that
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know if you've watched like the influencers that do like the
yeah.
crumble cookie reviews. They do like the cutters and stuff. Apparently he has his own customized cookie cutter
All
that he
right.
uses and save and shares the cookies with everyone in the clubhouse. So
His trade value might never be higher than it is right now.
yeah, truly, I agree. I
Two
agree with
really
that.
good starts back to back
Absolutely.
against a good team as well. Like the Rays are a formidable opponent, obviously first place in the in the AL East.
100%.
So it's
100%.
like I don't know what they could get for him. I think he's a free agent after this year.
Yeah, obviously I will say for the Marlins, that's gonna be a tough one. I'm like
Hmm.
eventually he will go somewhere else. I do not believe he will finish his career with the
No,
Marlins,
yeah.
but that's gonna be a tough one
But I'm
to
thinking
let
of
go
teams
for the
that could
Marlins.
use him, and maybe the Cubs.
The Cubs, I'm like, to be honest, I have always kind of, I feel like the Marlins to Yankees pipeline, especially like earlier in the,
Yeah.
mid 2000s kind of has always kind of been there, you
But I
know what I
feel like
mean?
they don't
So
really need pitching.
yeah, I agree, but I don't know. Obviously, I do think that there's 100% the possibility. But then again, I do see the Marlins keep because listen, at the end of the day, that he is Mr. Marlin now. Obviously,
Yeah.
not previously. Jeff
Maybe
Conine
the
held that
Brewers.
held
Maybe the
that title,
Brewers.
but yeah, we'll see, we'll see. But
Hmm.
yeah, obviously, going on to the Nationals, who also got a win. They were out in the desert. I'm sure some pretty hot temperatures out there, and Luis Garcia was just as hot as those temperatures. He's been hitting 300, 12 for 40 with a double, a triple of 4 home runs and 50 RBIs and 2 walks in the last 11 games. And he hit his first career grand slam in that game. And that was later on in the game. He actually had a 2-run home run. So he had a multi home run game, which was kind of added to a career high day with 6 RBIs for him. So just a great day for Luis Garcia, who usually starts slow and has never really been that guy. So
He's been great this
obviously,
year, though.
congrats.
He's been really, really
Yeah, he's been
solid.
great. And
Yeah.
14-1 win. I'm sure Nats fans will definitely take that. And then on to game two, 6-1 win. Mead in the last 13 games, he's been 14 for 48, 5 home runs, 12 RBIs, has hit safely in 10 of 13 games, and he had a 2-run dinger in the first. Mr. Cruz got a dinger as well, and both have really kind of found their stride in the last kind of 15 games or so, and they really delivered to help get that win there. And then the final game, it was kind of a wash. Soroka really tossed a gem. Only really positive for the Nats was Abrams' homer for his 14th of the season. So a great series win for both those teams who kind of needed some bounce backs there. And the Nationals are at 500. So they are 100% still competing for that kind of second spot. And I would not say are at all out of the race for kind of
No, no.
wild card right now. So yeah,
Yeah, I don't think
that's that.
anyone's out
That's
of the
that. That's
race.
that for now, and on to the Phillies as
Yeah,
well.
I don't think anyone's out of the race, honestly,
Yeah,
except yeah, maybe the Rockies, maybe the
probably the well,
Giants.
yeah, probably
But
the Rockies.
yep, Phillies took on the Chicago White Sox and they won their series as we've been talking about throughout the episode. All five teams won their series, but first game we got to talk about Brandon Marsh. 2-run homer.
Yeah,
They
man.
won 8-6 and Schwarber, this is so rare. Schwarber, it's more common for him to hit 4 home runs than 4 singles, but he had four
Yeah,
singles in the first game. So just like a wild game for Kyle. And then game two is when they lost. Andrew Painter, he's been a rookie pitcher. Like that's
yeah,
the
he
nice
has.
way to
Yeah,
put it. But he
yeah,
he struggled mightily. He gave up 4 runs in the first inning, ended up giving up 6 total. Like he was never able to get it back under control. And yeah, it just Phillies offense couldn't catch up to them. They lost 6-3. Painter's been disappointing, honestly. I
yeah.
know I just said that he's been a rookie pitcher, but he's been disappointing. He has a lot of prospect pedigree, and maybe it's just this season and he'll turn it around next season. But like if I'm a Phillies fan, or if I'm the Phillies, if I'm Don Mattingly, I have no confidence in him right now.
Yeah, I
Zero.
agree. I'm like, do you think he should go back? Do you think he should go back down, or I'm
I
like,
don't
do you
think
think
so
that
because
he should continue?
I don't think they have the pitching to supplement it. Like I don't think they'd
That's
be able
true.
to make up that spot.
Hmm.
But something has to change. Like the
Yeah,
pitching
yeah.
coach got to get in his ear. But yeah, game three, back and forth game. Phillies end up crushing the White Sox 9-5. Bohm and Bryson Stott clutch go ahead hits in the fifth inning, and then just 4 2/3 of scoreless relief from the Phillies. So kind of like what I was talking about the Mets, everyone clicking on all cylinders. You give up some runs, obviously, but at the end of the day, like if your bullpen can shut it down and you can score those runs, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
And honestly, I got to give flowers to Brandon Marsh. He was a
Yeah, absolutely.
machine over the weekend. He homered in every single game against Chicago. Like
Damn.
he's having a career year. It is
Absolutely.
a contract year for Brandon Marsh. I'm pretty certain. And he leads the National League in batting average. He's hitting 338 right now, and
What?
he's never hit higher than 280. So just
Damn.
no one saw this coming. He's very much been just like a good player, but this year he's really turned it up a notch, and he has been one of the most dangerous hitters for the Phillies. And so we were looking at the Phillies lineup prior to the year, and we were like, okay, besides Harper and Schwarber, who else do you have? We lightly mentioned Bohm, we lightly mentioned Stott, Adolis Garcia. You liked. No one mentioned Brandon Marsh,
They did
and
not. Yeah,
he's
I'm
taking
like,
it personally because he's just
absolutely.
on an absolute tear. So, yeah, that's what I got for the Phillies. Great series win for them, and we'll see if they can keep it rolling. But onto the temperature check.
Hmm.
I fluctuated with the temperature multiple times, obviously, for the Mets. I've changed it to optimism scale because I thought the season was over. I've given, temperatures, valid temperatures, but I don't know. I'm
Hmm.
torn. I'm really, really torn because they're only 5 games back of the wild card. However, I do not think that this is a winning ball club. Nothing that they've shown me other than last week. They are 7-3 in their last 10. So, that's certainly positive, but anything can happen. I say that with cautious optimism because they're about to get healthy. Senga is about to be back probably tomorrow, and Francisco Alvarez is about to be back. How much do you expect from those two? Not much, if I'm being honest. I don't expect much. But then you get Lindor back, and maybe you get Robert back. Like these guys are starting to come off the IL just as the Mets are starting to really heat up. So they have a big series this week with the Cardinals with St. Louis. So if they can if they can just
Yeah, but
string together some serious
who are
wins.
you who are you facing on the weekend? Who you facing Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Right. So if they sweep the Cardinals, they could go, they could split the week. They go 3-0 against the Cardinals and 0-3 against the Braves.
There you go. There you go. It might be it might
You
be
feel
it
pretty
might
good
be a
about that.
wash. It might be a wash. We'll see. I'm like I definitely think the Mets can at least take one from the Braves. Maybe if the ball boy goes out there and throws a couple pitches, we'll
There you
see.
go. There you go.
But yeah, obviously, we haven't really talked about it yet. It's crazy that this is the first time we're facing one another, and it's
Yeah.
June.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been, it's kind of crazy that we have this podcast and this is the first time that we're going to be facing one another.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very exciting stuff. We'll see. For those that we haven't really talked about it much, we don't really talk to each other that much because especially with the
During
Braves
that
usually
series,
winning
it is.
those,
Yeah. During that series, it is all business.
yeah, Brett usually gets kind of annoyed with me, so I leave him to his own
Mm.
devices there. I'm always a little bit. I always talk a little bit more, especially if I'm sad. I usually like to talk through my feelings, but yeah, we'll see what happens there. So definitely a fun weekend series to look forward to in the first kind of matchup between our teams. As far as my temperature check is concerned, little known kind of thing, best record in the MLB, best 66 game start in modern franchise history. earned their major league leading 22nd comeback victory of the season and their fifth win in 23 tries.
That's
Um,
insane.
and
22
when
comeback
trailing
victories.
after 6 innings.
Absurd.
So as I said, in that clip, we truly are never out of it. It just really feels like this offense is just always able to kind of conjure. And when you're kind of in that situation, you really can't feel much better about the fact that it truly feels like you can win every single game. And when you don't, you still feel like you're getting really productive at bats to continue to kind of up the confidence for pretty much every player that you have in the lineup. Player of the series, very simple for me. It's Didier Fuentes. Obviously, a lot of players had great offensive days, but it just really feels like that was a huge moment so far in the season for him to really get that opportunity and deliver. So I'm really proud of him, player of the series for me. And obviously, I'm assuming it's
My
going to
player of
be
the series is Carson Benge,
makes sense.
who, yeah,
Yeah.
most of the damage was done in the last game, but 5 hits throughout a 3 game series is pretty good. He had 6, so, great series from Benge. And honestly, just a microcosm of his season ever since becoming that leadoff hitter. He has just been so fun to watch. He's exactly what the Mets needed. The shot in the arm, great call by David Stearns and the rest of the Mets front office, because they could recognize the need at the start of the season. He broke camp. He obviously did not perform well, and
Yeah.
a lot of people were calling for him to get sent down. I want to say I was pretty consistent in the fact that I didn't want him to get sent down and wanted him
Yes,
to
in the
figure it out.
beginning of the year, I made comments about I
Yeah,
think that he should be go
yeah,
down, and you believed in him. And all
yeah,
power to you. You were correct,
yeah.
and that was the right choice. And now he is rewarding you for that confidence. So
Absolutely, yeah. The last month
as
he
a
was
fan,
crushing.
that's gotta feel good, right?
Absolutely, yeah,
That's
yeah,
gotta feel like you have faith in your younger guys,
yeah.
and I'm glad that he's delivered for you. So in this
Hmm.
case, I'm glad that I was wrong and that he's kind of making his mark this year. So that's really good. Well, guys, that is gonna do it for us today. Thanks for
Wait,
joining.
real quick. Did you want to do our All Star game picks real quick?
Oh yeah,
We
absolutely.
can just rapid fire him.
Yeah, absolutely. You go first, so that I can pull mine
Yeah,
pull
yeah,
mine
yeah.
up super
All right,
quickly.
so mine, I'll go American League first. I'll go Ben Rice at first base. I'll give the nod to Travis Bazzana at second base, Miguel Vargas at third, Bobby Witt shortstop, Shea Bangaliers catcher, and then Judge Buxton Trout is my outfield with Jordan as DH. Obviously, I think Judge is not going to play, so I'll need a replacement, and I will go with his teammate Cody Bellinger.
I think that's valid. Ours is pretty similar. I'm like Bangaliers at catcher, Rice at first, Ernie at second. Miguel
Mm,
Vargas has truly just been incredible with the Sox. Sox have truly had one of the best years that we've seen in recent times. Bobby Witt at short, Jordan at DH, Buxton, Judge, and Rayleigh. And I think I will also go Bellinger there in the outfield. But yeah, Rayleigh has honestly kind of been one of the most
been a
fun
surprise, yeah.
hitters
It's been a
hitters
huge
so far.
surprise.
And then for the National League, Drake Baldwin at catcher,
Yep,
Matt Olson at
yep.
first base, Xavier Edwards at second, Max.
I have Bryce Terang there.
Okay. Max Muncy at third,
Uh huh.
C.J. Abrams at short,
Yep.
designated hitter Shohei Ohtani,
Yep.
outfield J.J. Bleday, Michael Harris, and Juan Soto
Wow,
rounding
we
out
have
my
very
outfield.
different outfields. I have James Wood, Jordan Walker, Juan Soto.
Yeah, I definitely think that is like super valid. I think Bleday is just been such a fun hitter. Obviously, it wasn't fun when he was hitting super well against us when we were in Cincinnati there, but he has been one of the best outfield hitters so
Oh
far,
yeah,
specifically in the Central,
that feels
100%.
crazy to not have James Wood though.
Yeah, I understand. I understand that,
That's a
but
little
I
Michael
just
Harris homerism.
I don't know. He's the best center fielder in baseball, so I
I just
don't.
chose 3 outfielders. I didn't go. Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
go. Yeah,
yeah. Obviously, some people pick specifically
yeah,
positions, but obviously, yes, it is technically outfield, right?
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I'm like for the most part, I don't really have any. Who did you have at third in the AL?
I had Miguel Vargas as well.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you okay, so yeah, so
yeah.
on that same, so yeah, that's kind of I feel like potentially controversial depending on.
Could be Caminero.
Yeah, it could be Caminero, but
Or
he
Jose
is,
Ramirez. Honestly, give it to
or
Jose
Jose,
Ramirez.
but Miguel has
Down
definitely
year.
been hitting for most for average
Yep.
as
Yep.
opposed to Caminero. Obviously, Caminero has more RBIs and home runs, but I've always kind of been an average and on base guy personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. We had that. Please let us know. Do you completely disagree? Are we absolutely insane? Am I a Braves homer? The answer is yes. I'm not
My
apologizing.
picks will change next week, anyways. It's bound to happen. Like I flip flop too much.
And let's be real. I'm voting all Braves no
Of
matter what. This
course.
is just
Of
this is just
course.
obviously
Yeah.
my realistic thing. But yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for joining today, and make sure to follow the socials. Check out those clips. Comment. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know that you watch the podcast, and we'll comment back and say thank you. And this has been Division Therapy. Have a good night.